All right, here we go. Once again, War Daddy Chadsky here. I'm your guy. I will be your host today on another video that we're going to talk about. We're everything Cavs, baby. And we're going to talk about all the different Cav garrisons specifically and what they do, how they do it. And then we're going to talk about the garrison that broke the game. The specific garrison that broke this game. You do not want to miss out. I appreciate everybody jumping in. Thanks to a lot of you who jumped in on our live stream yesterday. It was my first live stream. Cortex helped me out. It was a lot of fun. Had hundreds and hundreds of people. I think we had over 3,000 views on the stream. And just really appreciate everybody for helping out the channel. If you like the channel, be sure to like and subscribe and hang out with us. We just launched our Discord, and that Discord link will be in the description. A lot of heavy hitters in my Discord already. We got hundreds of people in there, and it's a lot of fun as we get populating with that Discord and have a good time with it. A lot of questions. I got easy access there. Anybody can reach me. And so the response has been overwhelming. And I really appreciate everybody's comments and kind of giving me some advice or giving me ideas for videos and all that stuff. So keep all that stuff coming. Today, it's Everything Cavs Part 2. And we are going to talk about garrisons, okay? Now, I've been a Cav player for years, right? I've had, honestly, one of the better Cav accounts in the game for a handful of years now. And like anybody else who's a Cav garrison or a Cav rally, I had Zizka, and I ran Zizka a lot. And when I would run Zizka, Biga was still in the game, but I was running Zizka with YSS. Hera comes out, he bulks Zizka up a little bit and allows for some different things to happen. The one thing about Zizka that is still true to today, his damage factor. He still has massively high damage factor. And he's got a little bit of AoE once your troops have gone below 50%. So the march you put in the garrison, once that goes below 50%, which only takes about 15 seconds, you start doing some additional damage to AoE, to 3 other targets. So that's a little bit of a damage factor here, but overall, just still massive damage after all these years. I mean, he's an old commander, and there's a lot of things he doesn't do, but he does damage. He gives you attack and defense bonuses. He gives you skill damage bonuses. We all know that. He does do some normal damage reduction. Now, that'll be important for what I'm about to tell you later. And then he also dispels any normal buffs. What are normal buffs? Normal buffs, they increase the target's attack, defense, health, healing, etc. So he dispels that from the attacker. So he basically, now he doesn't drain. That's a whole different thing with Ragnar. But he basically nullifies any of those buffs that the rally is giving to itself, okay? We got a health bonus here. You've got a normal damage bonus, which is great. When you're able to charge that up, that's counter attack, that's basic attack, that's any kind of smite attack, even though you really don't run smite with this commander. So you have some benefits there to a little bit of prickliness, okay? You get just a little bit. And of course, his expertise goes right into his active skill. So Zizka was good, and honestly, he was good for a couple of years. He's great in arc. He's fast. You run him with Hera. You can put different troop types in there. He doesn't have any Cav exclusive stuff in here, so he makes him kind of versatile when it comes to some of those troops. The reason why he has to go with Hera is because he does not have any prickliness to him. He does not have any counterattack to him. He doesn't have any of that stuff except for this normal damage boost that he does. Now, granted, he only does that for 3 seconds, and he only does that on average once every 15 seconds, 20 seconds. So it's not that much. So you have to give him a counterattack commander. You have to give him something prickly, or you're going to get swarmed down. Okay? So after years go by and you get new rallies, new garrisons, well, it comes up to where it's the Cavalry garrison again. And they're getting ready to release 9th gen commanders. This was about 6 months ago. I got super excited. I was like, oh my goodness, if it's smite, great. That'll be awesome. They didn't make it smite, and they honestly didn't make it how I wanted to make it. They made Eleanor. And sticking with the same kind of philosophy that they did with Zizka, Eleanor does damage, y'all. Like a lot of damage. Okay, she has a little bit of skill reduction, which is great on her active skill, but she does 2,300. That's not the gist of it. We'll explain that in a second. Second skill, good attack bonus, counterattack damage reduction. to me, when I saw this, I was like, this might be the worst passive skill I've seen in a garrison in years. Like, this is just not that much. This is 20% attack bonus. That's like Pelagius level, okay? And you go on to the next skill, same thing. 15% defense, okay. Like, that's not that much at all. And so I was very disappointed with this commander. And, you know, there's a trigger chance that you're gonna pull off this thing right here, the Lily of Wilds, okay? So what this is, and just for you guys to understand, okay, the Cav defensive bonus is nothing. I mean, you might as well not even have anything. I mean, just barely any tankiness that comes with that. However, this is what makes it work. This trigger chance to launch this again. This happens a lot, okay? How does it happen? When you're hit with a basic attack, okay? So if you're getting rallied, or if you've got or if you have a swarm going on, if any kind of swarm, this thing's going to fire off all the time. Now, the bad part about it, it's got a 10-second cooldown, so it takes a while. But when this thing fires off, it lays this thing down twice. And if you get lucky, kind of like, you know, how sometimes you'll pop out of a city, or you'll be fighting with Alex in the field, and you'll see those red numbers just pop up whenever. It's kind of like this, except it actually fires off this active skill. And that's what makes her really, really good, is that she lays down so much damage. On average, I think we calculated that if you lay it out, the trigger chances on this, even just against a rally, it adds like 800 damage on average to each cycle, so it's like 3,100 I mean, it's a lot that she'll do during the course of a rally. The damage bonus that she has, she just got a pure 10% damage bonus. I think with her, they did more just pure damage than anything else. And then at the same time, up to 5 nearby allied troops, they gain 5% bonus to damage dealt. So this is really good if, you know, she's in a garrison and you got troops swarming the rally that's hitting you. That's where that comes into effect. It gives that benefit to those marches out there swarming the rally. Great. Okay, you really can't see it, but I guess it's okay. Her expertise, 5% less damage. Great. She does 10% more skill damage. Fine. Awesome. But as far as that expertise goes, this is about as meh as I've ever seen one. I mean, and that is why everybody was so disappointed in Eleanor. I mean, just a big time failure. Like, you can't use her necessarily for anything. So, but let me give the reason why that might not be completely true. Okay, when it comes to Eleanor, and really any Cav garrison, so we should not be surprised with this. Okay, Eleanor's gonna do a lot of damage. All right, Zizka's gonna do a lot of damage. So that they are not prickly. Okay, the people don't think of Cav garrisons as these counterattack monsters that are gonna kill you. Even to this day with the relics, Martel will kick out damage. You do not want to swarm that. Okay, but then naturally with the infantry, you've got Gorga, and you have some of these other commanders that kick out that counterattack. The new archer commander, he's got counterattack. So even when Dido didn't have the counterattack, this cat here, where's it at? He gets a normal damage bonus at 10%. Awesome. That's just like counterattack. And then I believe he has, there it is. This commander deals 25% more counterattack damage. If the target troops is fewer than this commander's troops, which in a rally, ultimately they will be, you'll have 0 troops on the rally march, the actual march of the rally. And when that happens, you're going to increase that counterattack damage bonus by 15%. That extra 15% you get here doesn't exactly help you against a swarm, because if they've been running the rally for a while and you're in a garrison and your HP bar is way low and you got full marches hitting you, you're not going to kick off that 15% extra counterattack damage. But overall, I mean, you're looking at 10% normal that he's got, and then you're also looking at up to 40% counterattack damage. I mean, that's big. So Cavs don't have that. Cavs have damage. That's what they do. So inherently, if you've been in a KVK, and let's apply this to real rock life scenarios, okay? You're in a KVK, you're in a pass where you literally cannot be swarmed. Eleanor with Zizka, if you are specific one troop type, Eleanor with Zizka is probably the best garrison you could run if you're specific to one troop type. Okay, if you're specific to infantry, you're probably going to run like a Gorgo even with Flav. It's weird, but it works. If you're in a pass, you can probably run Dido with our new guy, and that will probably be pretty good. You just got to have all archers. So specific to one troop type, you can't get much more damage and just application of damage and all the things that they do than Eleanor Zizka. Okay. So if you want to go mixed troop types, Eleanor is great with Hera. She's fantastic. You can go mixed troop types. She doesn't have anything exclusive with her cavalry. So that works as well. Okay. And so it's this is where if they're not swarming you, this counterattack damage reduction is actually kind of sneaky good because it takes that away from the garrison or from the rally. And over time, it really starts to add up as far as the less damage you take in those white numbers with counterattack. But overall, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. Now, if you're running a fort with 3 million troop cap, you can use her with Hera. Okay, that is, even if it gets swarmed, she can kind of maintain and she can be okay. And Hera's going to help her kick out enough damage to where she's okay. Where you don't see her a lot in is in flags. Okay, and here's what I'm saying. And this is where we have to kind of distinguish. There's two different types of ways you use Eleanor. You use her in high troop capacity structures like passes and forts. And then you also use her in smaller KVKs. And what I mean by that is that if you're a player that's in a low A seed, a B seed, a C seed, these smaller seeded KVKs, Eleanor is fantastic. In fact, she's probably one of the best garrisons you can have because you're not going up against kingdoms that are heavy swarm kingdoms. Okay, so in smaller KVKs where the threat of heavy swarm, now there's a little bit of swarm and then there's heavy swarm. The threat of heavy swarms in those smaller KVKs is not near as high. In big kingdoms, high A seeds, low Imperiums, big Imperiums, Eleanor is never used in a flag. Ever, ever, ever. Because those are kingdoms that are going to swarm. They're going to swarm the hell out of you. And if you see an Eleanor, you'll swarm it before the rally even hits. Okay? Because she just doesn't do enough kickback and damage back. So that's kind of where we're with Cavalry. And that's why I was kind of disappointed by Eleanor. But then I got to thinking, part of the reason why I'm disappointed with Eleanor is because we found a way to break the game almost a year ago. We broke it. There's a thing called artifacts. And in KVKs that have artifacts, you can apply an artifact to a commander. And if you are a Cav player, that artifact that you have for Cavalry, you can apply it to another commander of another troop type, and it makes all their skills work for Cavalry. Okay? This is how we found the Gorgo Hera, or I'm sorry, the Gorgo Attila Garrison. Okay, but before we found the Gorgo Attila Garrison, don't forget, I was testing this, and I'm the guy that did it, and I can speak to it firsthand. I was testing it on Specco's simulator nonstop, and something started working, and I was very rare because I had crazy arch armaments for Cavalry. Okay, and so while I had that, I was kind of going through some of the different things, some of the different abilities and things that we have when it comes to some of this stuff. And I was really, really impressed with how we've got some options here. Because I can throw this, boom, I put this thing on Attila. Guys, I'm one of the only players in the game that has 4 special inscriptions for Arch for Cavalry. Okay, everybody's got it for infantry, or a lot of people do, and a lot of people are working towards it because you have the smite damage. Well, I had it for cavalry because that's where I started, right? And this stuff is really old. I've had it for a while. And so I put it on Attila, I used it in the simulator, and I found something. And I was like, if I put that artifact on Gorgo and I run her behind Attila in the garrison, what does that mean? Well, this skill specifically does not work for Attila in the garrison. It is a rally skill, but it doesn't matter. Okay, look at what Attila does. For the next 4 seconds, you get a 30% normal damage boost. You get 30% more counterattack damage for 4 seconds, And then whenever this commander launches a basic attack, it has a 50% chance to reduce the target's attack by 50% for 2 seconds. Okay, this is pretty good and pretty big. But when you see normal damage right here, what does that say? Normal damage includes basic attack, counter attack, does not include damage dealt by ranged. Okay, but this word right here is the key. Includes smite damage. Okay. So if you go look at Gorgo, she lays down a whole bunch of smite, like a whole bunch. And then she continues that normal damage boost after she lays down her active skill. And if people don't know, within 1 second deals smite damage. Gorgo lays down the smite the next turn after this all goes off, which means she gets her own buff on the 10% normal damage. So you couple that 10% with Homeboy up here at 30%, you're laying down 40% normal damage boost for Gorgo's active skill to fire off. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And so you get into here, massive skill damage reduction, march speed you're not worried about, cavalry attack, great. Okay, and when I say massive skill damage reduction, this commander takes 15% less skill damage, but also deals 30% less skill damage. Well, you're not dealing any skill damage. So Attila Gorgo, it might work, okay. Then you get here. This is the key. This is what makes Attila amazing. This might be the best single skill in the game. If this commander's troops contains just cavalry, you got to stick it with calves. Whenever it launches a basic attack, it has a chance to gain a bonus to damage for 2 seconds. There's a 25% chance it's going to be 50% bonus to all damage, or there's a 25% chance that it's going to be 100% all damage bonus for 2 seconds. Cooldown is 10 seconds. Absolutely berserk and crazy. Here's his expertise. He can't be silenced. That's great. Their troops deal 20% more normal damage to troops with less than 50%. That's fantastic. More normal damage. Awesome. Let's make that work. Okay. So a lot of people found that Gorgo Attila worked really well by putting Gorgo first, giving Attila the artifact and making him an infantry commander. And it's fine, but it's not quite as good. I say it's fine because Gorgo Attila has been like rock solid, one of the best, if not the best garrison collectively overall out of any artifact KVK as anybody. And the reason why is because people don't have all the stuff that I've got for Arch. And I got the receipts, guys. This isn't sunshine pumping or anything. This is straight up. It was an accident that I found it. But the Attila Gorgo garrison is the best garrison in the game. When you have these armaments and the cav stuff and all the cav equipment, okay? And that's what makes this thing so freaking good, is that all these things contribute to not only him, but also Gorgo. So when this dude fires off, it's absolutely insane. And the hard part, if you run Gorgo first and Attila fires off as a secondary, you cannot make that 4-second bridge. Okay, you can't make it bridge. You can't make it last long enough for Gorgo to come back. And you might think to yourself, well, Gorgo has a rage reduction of, it's only 900 rage cap, and Gorgo goes really fast. It doesn't matter. Gorgo always waits 1 second after she fires her active skill to do her smite damage. So you can never get this 4 second to bridge, ever. But you can sure get it to bridge when he's the primary and you're running just cavalry. And that's what we did. So we ran this thing, and I've got a whole bunch of different things to show you here, but we ran this thing. We got this KVK. We got in it with 960. Okay, GT 960 GT is the best kingdom in the game, fighting wise, and honestly, everything that they do, super organized. They've been good for years. They are pound for pound the best kingdom. They've done it on a massive scale. Oh well, all the things. I know a bunch of those guys over there. They're fantastic and they're good players. And these dudes are the best of the best of the best. Their rallies are the best. Their garrisons are the best. But their swarming is what makes them amazing. And so we found this particular garrison against 960. And it gave them fits. Like, as good as they are, they were just like, oh my gosh, it's expending way too many troops for us to kill these structures that you guys have. And honestly, it's one of those things that just happy accident we found out, and it worked out really well. So when you go through some of these, and I'll just start pulling them up. These were the kind of reports that we were seeing when we were running this particular kind of garrison. Okay, this is against C. Will's Attila Luce, which is one of the best. C. Will is one of the best players in the game. And so when you see some of these things, you start looking at it and you're like, how are these things working? You know, we against an archer rally, it's going to absolutely murder. You see the kill points up there. You see the difference and the power of this garrison. This is in a flag, and any kind of Ash Zuge is going to get wrecked by this garrison. Just wrecked. And so you go to the next one. We started seeing these all the time. Now, this is what was interesting about this particular rally. This was a double rally. Okay, so Rolex's Ash Zuge hits this thing, and that's the beauty with this garrison. People don't realize it's not just great against a rally. It can take on 2 rallies at the same time, a double rally, and just completely eat its lunch. Okay, it can hang with the tank rally, and it's actually gonna trade positive with it, and then it'll go trade about even with the damage rally. It's weird how this thing worked, and we got plenty more in here. Piltong is one of the best. He is literally the best infantry player maybe in the game. He has all the things, and he's an amazing player. And this rally just crushes. I mean, it was crazy. And so it's not any fault of theirs. In fact, that they overcame it by swarming and doing all their things. But all these high skill or high kill rallies that you see, a lot of them are swarms. And I'll even show you a few of them up here to where something like this was being double rallied and swarmed. This is being double rallied and swarmed. And look what this garrison does. I mean, it's just wild what it was able to do. And so let's see. We go to the next one. We've got some different. Okay, this was a really good one. So this was a very long-lasting rally. Okay, we were taking a double rally from the best kingdom in the game with the best stuff. We're taking a full double rally on a fort, and we're taking a double rally with full swarm. So we have 10 swarming marches, 2 rallies hitting, and we're just hammering this thing. And it went on for a while. And at the end of it, okay, this particular report here, I believe this was the damage rally, and the damage rally barely traded positive. There was a whole nother tank rally that I think traded a little bit negative compared to my garrison, but taking on the swarms at the same time, as long as you kept it full, this is why it was, guys, this looks like a lot of kill points. This rally actually didn't last a whole lot. I think it was 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But since it was a double rally with swarms, it just ratcheted up all the deads, all everything. And that's what was so crazy about this particular garrison. The Attila Gorgo garrison is just, I've got the receipts. It's crazy. And then this is against the HDs. I can't remember what the name of the kingdom was, but this is back in 2268 when we were fighting. They threw up a Justinian Nevsky, and it gets absolutely wrecked by this garrison. And even last KVK, okay, so this guy is one of the really, really good players that they had in 2934. Okay, I think he actually migrated to 2377. He's like their best player, really good player. And he has a really good Smite infantry setup with his SA, his CPO Aemilianus. And he goes and puts that with Attila behind that, because that's really good. And that's infantry, and against the Cav garrison, it gets absolutely wrecked. And this garrison, for whatever reason, it just works. So we knew in the game that the Gorgo Attila is great for infantry. But if you have the arch stuff for cavalry, cavalry, Attila Gorgo with the artifact on Gorgo is even better. And it literally was the garrison that broke the game. Okay, and so that's one of the things that we get into when it comes to Cav garrisons. When people say Cav garrisons, it's like, meh, not a big deal. They do a lot of damage, yeah, but you can swarm them down. Nobody's really afraid of them. However, you run Attila Gorgo with an artifact and an artifact KVK, it's undefeated. It's absolutely undefeated. Even to this day, it's absolutely undefeated. And so with that being said, it's information a lot of people didn't have and didn't know. And I know it might be just kind of maybe unique to my specific setup on my account, but that's how it worked out, and that's how we found it. And from that standpoint, it's a lot of fun to play with these artifacts and figure out what works and doesn't work. But your Cav garrisons, we know, traditional Cav garrisons, high damage, they can be swarmed, they're great in passes, they're good in forts, Don't put it in a flag of a heavy fighting KVK with high Imperiums or high ACs. It's going to get swarmed down. However, you get an artifact KVK and you happen to have some arch stuff for your cavalry on your armaments, run it Attila Gorgo and see what happens. This is Chadsky, guys. I appreciate it. If you like this video, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. The Discord link is in the description. I appreciate everybody. You can check out my previous 4 videos I had, also the stream yesterday. Can't thank everybody enough. The response on all these videos has been amazing. You guys know me as a player. I'm a lot of fun. I'm very positive, and I like to respond and get involved with the community. So don't be afraid to hit me up. And you can go to my Discord channel and check out all that stuff. We're just now developing it, so got a lot of, like I said, a lot of heavy hitters on that Discord. A lot of the biggest, most experienced players in the game are already on there, just kind of hanging out. So be sure to join us, and I'll be back next time. In part 3 of Everything Cavs, we're going to talk rallies. So that'll be part 3, and we'll do that soon. See you later, broskies.